Hello and welcome to this Jane's weather update for Friday the 31st of October. We've got a lot going on, so let's now have a look at the maps. Here we have heatwave conditions over the northern part of the country. A trough is moving through the eastern states, that's on Friday and Saturday, so all of this activity slowly moving eastwards. Generally it is hit and miss showers and thunderstorms, tending to areas of patchy light rain, all of that slowly moving eastwards. But today we will get some around Brisbane, Sydney, all of those east coast areas too. The next weather system is likely to be a huge one. That is brewing now off the west, so this is on Friday morning. And there is a lot of moisture that is sitting up in here ready to meet up with that low pressure and produce some very spectacular results. So let's have a look day by day what to expect here. So here we have Friday and it's the rain totals for the day. By the end of it, the trough is running down in through here, so still very much in play by the end of Friday. There's still a lot of Saturday to get through as well. But the falls, they're in the southeastern parts of South Australia in the morning. That is clearing. It's over Victoria. It's over southern parts of New South Wales. It's along the coast too, out ahead of this, and in the western parts of Tasmania. So let's now have a look at Saturday. On Saturday, that has cleared in through here, but we still have a very east coast pattern, particularly southeast Queensland and all of that New South Wales seaboard up into the ranges there. But otherwise, it turns quiet across the southeast. The next weather system is developing. Here's our low pressure, here is our tropical moisture, both starting to come together. Let's watch day by day what the latest guidance is for this here. Okay, so by Sunday, juicy northwest cloud band is setting up down in through here, running into low pressure. This has the potential for significant rain. Why? Because it is connected up to the tropics. The tropics are very active at the moment. So it's like there is a bucket here. It is tipping moisture into it. And then as soon as you throw that bucket in the air, it is going to produce a lot of wet weather. So here we have the band as we move through Sunday, just coming into the southeast, clearing from the southwest with the next high in through there. That is Sunday. Let's now have a look at Monday. Likely to see a cut-off low develop. Now, as always, wherever that develops and wherever it moves, those in the path of that will be seeing the biggest falls out of this one. It is very widespread, and out ahead of this there is a trough line. So you've got two things in action here. You've got the band of rain that's moving eastwards, then you've got the wrap around the low pressure system as it moves across. Now this low is not likely to just head straight out to the east. Lows that are cut off from the fast westerlies to the south, they can take their own path. They can travel at will, so they can wander, which means if they move slowly, they're over us for longer, so they produce more rain in total. Right, so here it is by the end of Monday. Let's watch what the guidance is suggesting this morning. By the end of Tuesday, it's down here, not heading out to the east, heading southwards. So all of the southeast is likely to be in the path of this one. Now, as we get closer, it will still narrow, but at the moment, it's the southeastern parts that are looking quite wet for this one. Okay, so that's southeast and South Australia, the majority of New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania as well. And then you've got that bit out the top of it, the trough as it moves through, so that band heading across. That is Tuesday. I'll address this situation in a second, but let's finish off with this one. So this is Melbourne Cup Day Tuesday. The low to the south, we start getting the wraparound showers come in. Okay, as we move through Wednesday, the low is now down here, southeast of Tasmania. So we've still got all of that wraparound set to come up into the southeast there, or further north, it does take a break. That's pretty much the end of that one. So it's going from Sunday through to next Wednesday. It's a really, really long system affecting the eastern parts of the country. Into Thursday, pretty much all gone. Let's now have a look at this one. So heading back to Tuesday here, we've got heat coming down into the southwest. We've got a low developing there. We've still got plenty of moisture up in the north. That's going to join together again. So as we move to Wednesday, here is the trough down in through here. So we've got lots of wraparound wet weather coming into that, pouring in from the north as well. So there's Wednesday, heading into Thursday. Now at the moment, as soon as we go Friday, you'll see this is very widespread. Saturday, very widespread. The different models do not have a handle on where this is going. Some of them like it over here, some of them like it over there. So at the moment, looking very not clear on where this next one is likely to go. But we saw that move across the west, and it does seem to have an easterly pattern with it. So where it goes after that, is it Queensland? Is it New South Wales? Is it Victoria? Is it Tasmania? Time will tell as to where this next one actually moves through. Let's have a look at the totals through to the end of next Friday. So it could include that system as it comes in. But quickly, you see in the southeast here, it's a very significant week of wet weather. Anything yellow is 25 to 50 millimetres of rain. That's right up into the interior here. It's right up to Broken Hill. So this is a significant big system. Anywhere here that is the darker shade of yellow into orange, 50 to 75 millimetres. It is a huge week of weather in the southeast of the country. That's Tasmania, southeast South Australia, Victoria, southern parts of New South Wales. Let's jump into the east, southeast Queensland and most of the New South Wales coastline. This is mainly in showers and thunderstorms as it comes through, but still we saw those bands of rain. But if you're underneath a thunderstorm, then yes, you're going to see the heavy falls from that. Then there's the next one that comes through from the west, depending on where that will go later. But I do want to point out that pretty much every single patch of Australia here is covered by some wet weather, except what have we got here? Just east of Port Hedland, might miss out. So this is a very active week of wet weather as we move into next week. That is exactly what the Euro model is suggesting. There's a lot of green here, so this is from Monday onwards, so Monday the 3rd onwards. It's got a bit of a gap in through here, and yes, we did see that likely to be less wet weather that's coming in through here, but the coast might be seeing it. Now, a lot of this was Friday, Saturday into Sunday, so it's missing out as we move through Monday onwards, but then there's the next weather system that might come through. Otherwise, that is pretty much the entirety of the country that does have the chance of some pretty good wet weather. But we do know that it is in the southeast that we're likely to see the most of that, as in the most widespread heavier falls. What does the Bureau say? It doesn't like it in through here, but it does like it across here. This is from the 3rd to, so the same week as what the Euro was. Okay, so that is next week. Let's now have a look at the week following. We seem to take a bit of a break in through all these parts according to the Euro model. Likes it across the north, like something coming in down across the southwest in through here, and maybe something coming in through there. So that's our current pattern for week 2, beginning on the 10th of November. What does the Bureau say? Very different. Now, it does have less wet weather that's in through here, but it really likes stuff coming down across the central and eastern parts of the country. So it's 2 very different weather models for that second week beginning on the 10th of November. What is driving all of this? It is all of this warmer than average water that is around Australia. We can see very clearly, very textbook, as soon as you've got moisture to play with, it runs into low pressure, and that low pressure is able to come day after day. So it's a very slow moving low, then another one set to come across. So we've got plenty of both of those parts of that rainfall equation. We've also got some global weather patterns that are helping that out. So the blue in the box out through here, the blue in the box out through there, they both act to push moisture, actively push moisture towards Australia from the Pacific, actively push moisture towards Australia from the Indian. So moisture, we definitely have a big tick next to that one there. Where are we heading from here at the moment? This is the Pacific Ocean, so El Nino, La Nina. Let me just pop my head over there. We are, according to the USA, yes, they have a different threshold that is up in through here. So we have crossed that threshold into La Nina. In terms of the Bureau, they'll tell us after we cross this particular threshold if we do. But otherwise, you can see this as weak La Nina conditions, likely to be here for spring and summer. Having a look this way though, every single model is heading up. Now some of these here like us heading right over to the other side. Now you remember what happened last time? We had an El Nino. Let me just go back to the sea surface temperature anomaly. We still had a big pool of warmer than average water off the Queensland coast here. As long as we have that pool, then it struggles to dry out for us because we've got our own source of moisture. So at the moment, in a weak La Nina, actively pushing moisture towards us through here. If we go the other way into El Nino, then it actively pushes that moisture away from Australia. However, just one factor that can help with that moisture part, and if we still have this one through here, then it is a dampened response. We can still get quite a bit of wet weather because we've got our own source. Okay, so that's where we're sitting at the moment in terms of the Pacific Ocean. Let's now have a look at the Indian Ocean. We've been in a negative Indian Ocean dipole, i.e. the La Nina of the Indian Ocean, just doesn't have a fancy name. Negative is its name. And we've been there since the end of July. It started to come out, it dropped back down again, as you can see through here. That got really blue in that box once more. So we're still in it, and we're likely to come out of it as we move through the later part of the year, as it naturally does as the monsoon takes over. Now, some of these models like us going here towards a positive Indian Ocean dipole. There's nothing over on this side for the moment, but it's again a time of year where we don't have good guidance in terms of where we're heading next after this. So at the moment, we're pretty sure, yes, we've got heaps of moisture to play with from the Indian Ocean. We're going to stay in that and then naturally come out of it as we move into summer. However, if this part here does remain warmer than average, doesn't matter what ends up happening in that box there, we still have our own source of moisture. So moisture, 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 we've got it in bucket loads. All right, so let's have a look at SAM. So this is our southern annular mode, whether we're looking at troughs or strong cold fronts, and we have been negative now for quite some time. This is very different. For the past year, 2 years, it's been quite positive. So we have had a bit of a change into that one there. Now, as always, this is a Bureau's forecast. It pretty much always says that we're going to be neutral. So I actually don't look at that one there. I just look at where we've been to kind of explain where things are. So this is enabling strong systems to come through, coming right up into the southern parts of the country, connecting with that tropical moisture and producing lots of wet weather. In terms of our moisture connection, this is the Madden-Julian oscillation. Weird graph, but those who watch this video over and over should understand what it means now. As soon as we go through the green part, that is helping that connection to tropical moisture. It helps it pour in from the north whenever we're in the green zone. Whenever we're in the circle in the middle, there's no push either way. Whenever we're in the brown zone, that is when you're looking at less moisture connection happening in terms of for Australia. The moisture connection is happening on the other side of the globe. We like it when it's over here if we're wanting wet weather. So at the moment, this is where it has been and this is where it is likely to go after this. So at the moment, yes, we have a connection. It's likely to possibly weaken a little bit, but then it goes into the weak zone where there's no actual push either way. All right, let's have a whip around the country, but we'll just focus on Melbourne this time because we do have Cup Week and there's a lot of weather across the southeast. So let's unpack that. Let's just put me up in that northeast corner there, northeast of my screen. Okay, here we have a lot of wet weather, but not yet. On Friday during the day, let's just have a look at this one here. Fair bit of cloud, we're in the low 20s. It's starting to feel a little bit more humid. Dew point up on 11, so it's not as dry as it has been. Most likely, the wet weather that comes through today, it is hit and miss, tending to light and patchy rain for much of the time. Now, that light and patchy rain isn't going to add up to very much, but there is the risk of an embedded thunderstorm in here. And if you're directly under a storm, then yes, you can get a heavy fall. So that's our pattern for the day today. Light and patchy rain. Doesn't add up to much, but if you get a thunderstorm, then yes, you're definitely going to know about it. That clears up early on Saturday. We'll have cloud clearing to sunshine. So it clears to sunshine by the afternoon. The afternoon on Saturday, if you've got a Derby day, it should be absolutely lovely. Remember the sunscreen. You'll start with cloud and it'll turn lovely by the afternoon. There may be a light shower about the outskirts of Melbourne. That is it. I wouldn't worry about wet weather for Saturday. As we head into Sunday, we end up with northerly winds. So our temperatures are going to jump up. There we go, northerly winds. That means we rise into the low 30s. So a very quick jump up in temperature. It is dry through much of the day, then the patchy light rain begins at night. So Sunday day, hot, dry, Sunday night, that's when it kicks off. Let's head into Monday. Wowee, that's as that low moves across the southeast. Now, depending on the path, we could get the heavier end of these falls here. If it moves slightly away, then we'll get less. But there's a lot of 80s and 60s in through there. That is each and every model liking this. When we have all of the models saying a similar thing, then we've got higher confidence in that. So Monday is the day when we end up with that steady rain coming through. That lasts into Tuesday morning as well. So here is our steady rain to begin Cup Day. It breaks to showers during the day. So it may not be as persistent as what you had earlier on, but Tuesday is still looking like it is quite a very wet day, the potential for some big falls coming through. So Monday, Tuesday, that's as that low comes through. And there's some fairly cold air to go with it too. Into Wednesday, there's the wraparound from the low, so it'll come back as it moves across here. So Wednesday morning into the afternoon and evening, then into Thursday, it's pretty much gone by the morning. So that's finally the end of that weather system. Hey, not much of a break. This is Oaks Day, Thursday. Should be quite nice in the afternoon, but the next weather system is likely to kick off on Friday. Not a big break before this one. So at the moment, this model, which is the USA, likes it beginning earlier. The Euro, which is green, they like it to begin in the afternoon. The pink one is Gem, they like it to begin late afternoon into the evening. So watch the timing of that one there. Then as we go into Saturday, likely to see another one come through as well. As always, head to Jane's Weather for the latest update, and I'll see you next week.